Welcome back, students. We've been working hard at graphing lines. All of the graphs that we've done so far have kind of been a diagonal line like these two. But what if we needed a line that was either horizontal or vertical? That's what these next equations will be about. When we graph a horizontal line, it'll come from equations like these. When I see this first equation, what it tells me is that I will touch the y-axis, never the x-axis. Touch the y-axis and touch it at 5. Now, if my straight line is going to touch the y-axis at 5 and never touch the x-axis, then it must be a horizontal line crossing the y-axis at 5. If I needed to label other points, well, I could let x be 2. What would y be? Well, y would be 5. I could let x be -1. And what would y be? Y would be 5. No matter what x is, y will always be 5. Let's try that again. This line will touch the y-axis, never the x-axis. It'll touch the y-axis at -2. If I touch the y-axis at -2 and never touch the x-axis, then my line must be a horizontal line crossing the y-axis at 2. If I wanted to label some other points, well, I could let x be 1. If x is 1, what would y be? Well, if x is 1, y is -2 because y is always -2. If I let x be -3, what would y be? Well, if x is -3, y is still going to be -2 because y is always -2. No matter what my x values are, my y values are always -2. Now here are some examples of equations that will lead us to vertical lines. This equation says touch the x-axis at 4. Never touch y. Here's the x-axis at 4. If my line is going to touch the x-axis at 4 and never touch y, then my line must be a vertical line like this one. If I want to label more points, well, perhaps I let y be 2. Doesn't matter what y is, x will always be 4. X will be 4 when y is 2. Or I could let y be -1. When y is -1, doesn't matter. X will always be 4. No matter what my y values are, my x values are always 4. Here's another example. This time, touch the x-axis at -3, but never touch the y-axis. If I touch x at -3 and never touch y, then my line must be a vertical line. To label more points, well, I could let y be 1. Doesn't matter what y is, x will always be -3. I could let y be -2. Doesn't matter what y is, x will always be -3. No matter what y values I choose, x is always -3. That makes for a vertical line. Now when you graph these, give me either a vertical line or a horizontal line, and then label 2 extra points. All right, you go to work. I'll see you later on today.